Looking to get quality insurance at a price you can afford? Now you can, thanks to CFM Insurance. CFM specializes in a broad range of farm, home, and rental property coverage. Find an agent right in your local area, as CFM is represented by over 150 independent agents throughout Missouri. For friendly, personal, dependable service from a well-respected leader in the insurance industry, visit cfmutual.com/agents and find an agent near you today.
Welcome to This Week in Missouri Politics, Oktoberfest edition. We're going to jump right into the show. Welcome to have Congresswoman Ann Wagner. Thank you for making the time to share your views.
I'm pleased to be here. Congratulations, let me first say, on entering your 5th season.
Who would have thought, right?
No, it's terrific, and you got a big get next week for your party.
Absolutely. We're excited to have Whitey Herzog there. Hope that everybody can make it. It's not quite in your district, but it's close.
Here's to playoffs.
Exactly. Let's talk about some big wins for you. You got some endorsements this week. The IAFF, the firefighters, the police, and even the Farm Bureau. Now, some folks are going to wonder, Republican getting union endorsements from these guys, but these are first responders. Your cops, firefighters. These are, on the other hand, farmers. How do you go about obtaining those endorsements being a Republican?
Well, you represent your constituency, and to me, the men and the women who are on the front lines, our firefighters, our first responders, our police, they've got our back. I need to have theirs, and I have sponsored a good deal of legislation, the Protect and Serve Act, Mental Health Wellness Act. We also help out in terms of benefits for our officers and first responders who have been injured in the line of duty or sadly have paid the ultimate price with their lives. I'm active in the community. My husband is. We volunteer for our first responders. We always have, and I think it is my absolute solemn responsibility to stick up for law enforcement and certainly for our firefighters and all those who do so much to serve us. I was thrilled to get their endorsement. It's thousands across the St. Louis metro area, and they'll be out putting in some shoe leather and doing some things, I think, to help the campaign.
I talked to a guy like Mark Woolbright, and his statement was, this isn't a press event. We're going to be at polls. We're going to be knocking doors. There's a difference in sometimes how they support, but they seem like they're all in.
They're all in, and I've been honored to have their support for now finishing up my 3rd term in Congress. I'm thrilled to have their endorsement. They're a great group of people who, like as I said, they've got our back and I've got theirs.
Speaking in Congress, what are some of the things you're working on in Washington right now?
Well, we're going back for another week, perhaps into early October. We have to finish up the budget. We will have passed the most number of appropriations and the most funding for our government in years and years and years. We're going to have a tax cut 2.0, which is exciting. Hope to make permanent some of those tax cuts, along with also helping to have some provisions to help out retirement savers and make sure that employers are incentivized to offer savings. We've got a savings crisis in our country. Make sure that now that wages have gone up, benefits have increased, we're seeing nearly full employment. The first tax plan that we passed this past year has allowed the average family of 4 in Missouri's 2nd District to keep more of their own hard-earned money. Up to $3,700 will be the median average on that. So it's good news.
You hear the arguments, though, from the Republicans. If you cut taxes, people will spend the money, the economy will grow. You never know if that's going to happen until you cut taxes, but you've definitely seen the impact. I mean, the numbers don't lie.
Remember when President Obama told us that the new normal in terms of growth of our economy was 1 to 2%, and we've topped 4.2%, full employment. In fact, when I spent the week with small business owners, a number of women small business owners in Eureka, with manufacturers and developers and businesses across the 2nd District. And if anything, they're talking about workforce needs, which we're going to have to meet. So full employment, manufacturing up, as I said, people keeping more of their hard-earned money. Anything I can do to turn things back to the states, to the people that are working hard to buy that new appliance, save for their kids' tuition, take that family vacation. Consumer confidence is high. I feel good about the way this economy is rolling. And it's not just the tax plans. It's also the regulatory reform that I've had the privilege of working on in the Financial Services Committee. I'm going to go back. We've got sex trafficking legislation. You've heard me talk a great deal about FOSTA, my online sex trafficking act.
But not just talk about it. It's interesting. I've seen actually the bill passed, and there's been actual results. There are websites that are not up anymore.
We have decimated the online sex trafficking trade across this country.
People think government doesn't matter, and like nothing happens in Washington affects anything. But I honestly think you can see websites that are gone that were fostering this behavior.
And it served as a deterrent effect. They came down on their own. As soon as President Trump signed that piece of legislation in April, immediately, over 60 to 80% of those online sex trafficking sites have come down. And remember, sex trafficking, which is a problem in our St. Louis metropolitan area and certainly across our country, has moved from the streets to the internet. They're selling our women and our children with impunity. And to think that I could be a part of moving this landmark legislation over the past 6 years, taking on big tech, taking on the big money that was in this trade, saving lives, that matters. It matters to the community, and it's what keeps me coming back.
Let me ask you how the state of the race is going. You have an opponent, pretty vigorous guy, raised a lot of money, Court Van Ostrand. Tell me what the state of the race is from your perspective.
Well, you know, it's a privilege to serve, and this district is personal to me. I think we've got more to get done. I think I've been an effective legislator, which matters. We get things done. My work in Congress is not a job, it is a calling. And this district is where I was born and raised, where I've worked in my parents' small businesses, where I've raised my own family. It's where we worship. It's where we volunteer. This is a lifelong testament to my devotion and that of my family and those that I serve to this community. So it's personal to me. I don't think our work's done. I've got more to accomplish, and I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to present myself to the voters one more time, and in this race particularly that's coming up, and do whatever we can to earn their vote. Elections, you know, you never take them for granted. I'm an old grassroots girl who started as a township committee woman, and we have not, I can tell you, Scott, since the spring of this year, over 110,000 doors, made 85,000 phone calls. I've got teams and scores of volunteers that are out.
So it's not just cops and firefighters that are out knocking doors and campaigning for you. I've seen you do doors.
You
and
bet.
I always like to ask people, we have folks on in our opinion maker panel that they do influence, they talk to a lot of people. You're actually talking to regular people at their house. What are they saying on the doorstep? You
know, safety and security issues are important, whether that's their economic security, and they are feeling better about the fact that they feel more secure in their job. They've seen their wages go up, their benefits increase. They see their children with good employment, their neighbors, the people that they go to church with. So economic security, their own personal safety and security, which is very, very important. We have seen a movement in the 2nd District now where illegal aliens are coming into our community. We picked up 9, ICE did in Eureka of late. There were some that were doing credit card scams that were picked up in South County recently. They want to support our law enforcement. They want to support ICE, and they want to make sure that we are doing away with sanctuary cities, that we're addressing immigration needs, but also securing our border and making them a little bit more safe. So safety, security issues, opioids, big issue that I'm hearing about. And we've passed a number of pieces of legislation, well over 60, to add funding and for a number of areas that are going to go after this opioid
Always
epidemic.
Interesting sometimes the difference between what you read and what you hear on the doorstep. But Congresswoman Wagner, thank you so much for joining us here on This Week in Missouri Politics and sharing your views.
It's an honor to be with you.
Want to thank not only Congresswoman for being here, want to invite all of you this Thursday, Cafe Napoli in Clayton, our 5th year season premiere party. We'll have Whitey Herzog, so come out and join us. We're going to have a great time Thursday night. We'll be right back with our opinion maker panels.
In my state of Oklahoma, since it's become a right-to-work state, we've lost tens of thousands of jobs, and wages have gone down. I lost my job of 36 years.
Census Bureau and U.S. Department of Labor reports show that in right-to-work states, families make over $8,700 less per year, but CEOs make 361 times the average worker.
Prop A in Missouri is not what they're trying to sell you.
All across Missouri, our new car and truck dealers are building strong local economies. When you buy a car or truck in Missouri, you're helping to support over 20,000 Missouri families who rely on the auto industry for good-paying local jobs. You're also helping fund our communities, schools, first responders, and our roads because dealers generate millions of dollars in tax revenue. Missouri's automobile dealers have been the foundation of our communities for generations and for generations to come. The Missouri Automobile Dealers Association, the heart of Missouri.
Looking to get quality insurance at a price you can afford? Now you can, thanks to CFM Insurance. Select from our broad range of farm, home, and rental property coverage. Find an agent right in your local area, as CFM is represented by a network of 200 independent agencies throughout Missouri. For personal and dependable service from a company with a history of insuring the families of Missouri that dates back to 1869, visit WeInsureMissouri.com and find an agent near you today.
At Ameren, Missouri, we know what light can do. It draws people together and chases monsters away. And if you shine it in the right direction, it will light the path for the next generation, showing them what their tomorrow could look like and spotlighting the possibilities that lay in front of them. Investing in our community by lighting the way forward. That's energy at work. Ameren, Missouri.
Welcome back this week in Missouri Politics, Opinion Maker Panel time. We are joined by the Prince, or maybe the Viscount of Phelps County, Jack Cardetti. Welcome back.
Great to be here. Thanks.
RC Rachel Proudie, people know you on Twitter as that. The new legislator will be taking the office of the 73rd District in January, correct?
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Joe Mannies, the reporter that when you walk in the room, every other reporter bows out of the way. Welcome back to the show.
That's not true, but thank you for having me.
Scott Dieckhaus, White Knight of the Missouri Republican Party. Welcome back, sir.
Happy to be here.
Let's talk about the U.S. Senate race. I think the biggest piece of news that happened this week was Senator McCaskill come out and said she would not vote for Judge Kavanaugh. I think that a lot of people expected her not to, but I'm not sure if you took a referendum in the state, they might not support him. You had a very interesting tweet about the breakdown of the repercussions. What does this mean?
Well, frankly, I wasn't surprised. I think most people who have been watching the race closely wasn't surprised. She needs to keep the Democratic momentum in the state, especially among the young progressives who she's courting, up. And siding with Kavanaugh would have just killed it. That said, frankly, the whole controversy over whether or not he did or did attempt to assault some young woman when he and she were in high school, while McCaskill says that's not the reason, it kind of gave her, it made it less surprising.
Cover.
Yeah, it gave her cover. I think that's the right word. I mean, she's citing dark money, which frankly is going to both candidates in the U.S. Senate race. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a fact that Josh Hawley is benefiting more from it right now only because McCaskill is raising so much more money than he is. He needs that outside money in order to keep things sort of equal. Now, he's got President Donald Trump coming in Friday, so that's going to help him, I think, a lot, especially exciting the Republican base since Trump is appearing in Springfield.
Jack Cardetti, to me, I mean, the old school way might have been she tries to look more centrist by voting for a Republican nominee to the court. It seems like there's a new school policy where you have to keep your base maybe being fired up as an off year, maybe more important than that centrist position.
Yeah, look, I think when it comes to judicial nominations, Claire McCaskill, former prosecutor, great legal mind, really actually looks at the record. One of the things that she looks at is Citizens United. Joe Mannies is absolutely correct. Dark money's on both sides. The reality, though, is it doesn't have to be. Dark money is in politics right now because of a judicial opinion. Citizens United, Kavanaugh, Josh Hawley, they support Citizens United. Claire McCaskill has spoken out against it for years now. The fact that she won't confirm him based on that really means that she's putting her money where her mouth is. She doesn't believe that ought to be in politics. We ought to have judges that want to have transparency in government. Scott Dieckhaus spoke out a lot against Eric Greitens. Eric Greitens became Missouri governor for one reason only: dark money. We got to get that out of the system. I'm glad she stood up to that this week.
It's an interesting thing. You have a U.S. Senator in Claire McCaskill who speaks very centrist when she comes home. She talks centrist. She looks at Claire McCaskill can talk rural Missouri better than most people that live in rural Missouri. However, on these judges, she's been pretty partisan. Josh Hawley, when it came nut-cutting time, he's the one that stood up to the governor of his own party and was probably the most senior official that actually had the guts to stand up and point out and call a spade and call things wrong about a governor of his own party. It's kind of odd you have Josh Hawley being more unpartisan and maybe Senator McCaskill being more partisan, which is not how you would have thought coming into this race.
No, I think that's right. And I was actually really impressed with Attorney General Hawley when he did come out against the governor in a situation where he didn't have to, but it was the right thing to do. And he was kind of thrown in the middle of things anyway, via investigations into Confide and other situations. You talk about Senator McCaskill. She's against dark money and she's not going to vote for Kavanaugh because of Citizens United or whatever. But I don't see her speaking out against the dark money that's being spent on her behalf. I don't see her telling people, no, don't spend it on me. I'm fine. I've got my own campaign account. I think it's a little bit hypocritical to say that that's the out, that's the reason.
Representative, if Senator McCaskill were to look at the situation and said, I need to appeal to some more people in Phelps County, in Denton County, I'm going to vote for this Republican nominee, what would that have done to her base in St. Louis and Kansas City?
Oh my. That's a great question. And I also agree with Joe. I think that that appeal to progressives, especially on social media, there was this sort of listlessness of, okay, when is she going to come out? Mm-hmm. When is she going to come out against him specifically for the allegations of the sexual assault? I think we're a little bit underwhelmed, and I'm speaking as a progressive, with the whole dark money thing for the reasons the representative stated. We get that you're getting dark money as well, but we need something else. We want something more sustainable. I think it would have absolutely turned everyone off, as we saw in 2016. It's not effective. We would have voted for a Republican. Of course, we're not going to vote for Josh Hawley. I think the issue is do we stay at home?
Joe, as you've covered Claire McCaskill a long time, if this race would have been getting away from her, and it comes down, and the Kavanaugh, these last allegations don't crop up, I thought there was a chance she might have voted for him. You think she was never going to vote for Judge Kavanaugh? No,
I don't think she ever was. Part of it was, like I just mentioned, the base, and also her differences with him on so many issues, because Jack is right. She does have a prosecutor background. But I think also you run into a problem on both sides. If a politician doesn't stick with something that they say that they've believed in for years, and then they say, well, I'm going to vote for this person or whatever, and it looks overtly political, I think it hurts them in either party. I think some people, I've always respected certain people, let's say John Ashcroft Sr., because he always, what he said he was going to do, he did, whether one agreed with him or not. And I think that that's something that probably was weighing on her. I think the fact that there's this other controversy was kind of a gift.
Senator McCaskill has an element of that too, I think, in all fairness. When she says she's going to go somewhere, she does. I think she's got an element of when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I don't think there's a lot of surprises in her.
It may take her a little while to get there.
Sure. Well, I also think it's fair to say she might, the style she campaigns in maybe is in Missouri, maybe not reflective of her votes. She voted for every Obama nominee, and maybe not the Republican ones.
But I think Joe, I think she's absolutely on point. I think that Senator McCaskill's vote on this is to be expected. I think that essentially what you have with the Kavanaugh appointment is both sides playing to their base, and they're trying to energize their base over this vote.
All right, I'm going to put everybody on the spot here except Joe because she's covering the race. Give me a prediction and a margin of victory.
On Kavanaugh?
On the U.S. Senate race.
Goodness, it's going to be nail-biter close. I really think that it comes down to turnout. I think it's probably a less than 4-point race, and I think it could swing either way.
Oh, Kavanaugh get confirmed?
Yes.
Give me a margin. Give me a winner and a margin.
So we've sat here and talked about the Supreme Court nominee. Guess what? Average Missourians could care less about that, right? They care about their pocketbooks. What we saw from Prop A in August is people vote on their pocketbooks. The candidate that's articulating a pocketbook message is the one that wins close races, and that's what we have here. Claire's out there doing that. She's going to win by about 3 to 5 points.
3? Who wins?
Claire by about 2. I'm going to give her a little bit slimmer. I'm concerned about the turnout, particularly in North St. Louis City and North St. Louis County. She wins it, we'll vote for her. We're going to vote for her, holding our nose.
Kavanaugh get confirmed?
Yes.
Get confirmed?
Oh yeah, he'll get confirmed if the sexual assault allegations aren't proven out. Everybody agrees, Republican or Democrat, that is a disqualifier, and that's why they need a thorough look into that.
My mama in West Butler County and her prayer group, they care about the Supreme Court because of abortion. I think Hawley wins by 3. Let's talk about something that we don't even know. I was going to be clear as of now. We tape the show on Friday mornings. There's a Clean Missouri decision comes out from the courts. Jack Erdy, were you surprised the court took it off the ballot?
You know, a lot of things surprised me at the Cole County Court. Now, usually the Court of Appeals and Missouri Supreme Court find a little equilibrium there. So I think it gets back on the ballot, and I think it'll pass. Because look, politicians in Jeff City have had decades to clean up lobbying reform, campaign finance, redistricting. They've had years to do that, and they've been unable to do that to themselves. A citizens-led initiative petition will be the way that reform happens. They're going to vote for Clean Missouri.
But Jack, break it down. I think the issue here is a lot of people support the things you mentioned about the lobbyist gifts, or if you think that's going to help, good. The court's issue was you're taking how you draw districts and lumping it in with all those things, which is the real brilliance of Clean Missouri when you tip your hat to Sean. What about that? What is the pushback on you're taking redistricting, you're lumping it in with all these other lobbyist gift things?
Voters like that. We have gerrymandered districts right now as we speak. If you just look at the map of Missouri, it's crazy that we have the districts the way we have. Taking that and putting that in a nonpartisan way is absolutely smart. It's another reform, just like the lobbying reform, just like campaign finance. It'll pass with more than 60% of the vote.
Joe Mannies, I think that you tip your hat to some people that come up with this. There are some very publicly popular things. I think if you actually care about Jeff City, I don't think they're going to move the needle at all. But they're publicly popular. Then they took the redistricting and lumped it in with that. That's the part the court took an issue with. I think it's great politics, but I wonder if it's actually the best way to, should they not be voted separately? I think is maybe the argument.
Yeah, I think there's a solid legal case on either side, but as far as on those who oppose it, saying that there's just too many topics. I mean, now they're saying, well, they all deal with the legislature, but it's sort of, I mean, you got to stretch to get there. So I think from a political standpoint, I think they felt they needed to do it, but from a good government standpoint, I mean, argument could be made that maybe they should have separated those. I mean, there's something similar going on in St. Louis County, the same type of thing where a judge tossed something off because there were some other issues that they thought they were trying to sneak in with campaign finance reform. So I'll be interested to see how the court rules. I think it's going to be close, but I think Jack's right. I think if it gets on the ballot, it passes.
So because you're a political professional, I think it's all in all fairness. You tip your hat to Sean Nicholson and his group. Great politics. Could be the policy could be debated. I think the politics is outstanding. I'm not sure that anybody's arguing all the other things about lobbyist gifts or whatever. I don't think anybody in Jeff City cares, frankly. The lobbyists, I'm sure everyone will vote for this and to buy the gifts anymore.
Sure.
It's lumping in the redistricting, and I know you've been outspoken. What's the case against that?
So one, it's been found to be unconstitutional twice in 2 ways. So I think that, lumping this in together, I do believe, I mean, you want to say that it's not about redistricting, but 70% of the language is about redistricting. I mean, so this is really a redistricting measure. We talk about lowering campaign contribution limits. It's ludicrous. They lower it, 3.8% for state Senate races. So it really doesn't change the system at all. I mean, they basically put in a bunch of populist ideas to cover the Trojan horse. And you talk about citizen-led. This is not a citizen-led initiative. This is not a citizen-led issue. This is funded by out-of-state billionaires from Texas and the West Coast. This is not funded really largely in state. Most of the funding has come via dark money from out of state. And right now, the system that we have is a bipartisan system. We have an even number of Republican and Democrats that sit down and draw the maps. 70% of them have to agree, or it goes to the courts to draw. It is the system that all of the other states, there are 7 other states that have redistricting on the ballot this fall. All 7 other states are going to the system that we have. That's what they're trying for. We've done it right. And the other states are trying to do what we have, and we're trying to change it to make it a wholly partisan process.
Let's ask the person that's actually went and got votes in one of these drawn districts. Your district's a Democrat district, been for a long time. I don't know how you could draw a district that would be competitive in your area.
It's doable. Of course, I have half of St. Anne, a little bit of Bridgeton. I mean, it's inarguable that the way things are drawn are a little bit messed up. I mean, out of the 9 municipalities, 10, including St. Louis City, if you're going to count the entirety of the airport and splotches of Kinloch, is ridiculous. It literally, for it to be St. Louis County or North St. Louis County, takes me about 20 minutes to get from Ferguson to Bridgeton. So I have a little bit of Hazelwood, a little bit of
Craig
Bridgeton,
Redmond
a little.
Listen to you describe that's awful jealous right now. That's about half a day to drive his district.
You know, I mean, if you draw it a little bit more Bridgeton, you can absolutely swing it. I think we see that that it's doable in House District 70, where Mark Matheson, now I believe I'm saying his last name correctly. I mean, it's doable. In 72, there's a Republican running. So I think for all of us who are resting on our laurels, especially in North St. Louis County, who think, oh, my district is safe because it's a Democrat area, don't sleep on it.
So you mentioned Kinloch, and I want to bring this up. We took the demographic information that is going to be required to draw these maps for Clean Missouri. We took it to a college professor, nonpartisan, and we said, okay, here's the data, draw the districts. Now this district is an anomaly, so I'm not saying that they're all like this, I'm not trying to exaggerate this, but there was a Senate district when we got the maps back that was drawn from the area around Kinloch and Jennings in North St. Louis County, through St. Louis County, through St. Charles County, Warren County, Montgomery County, Callaway County, into Boone and Audrain County, just east of Columbia. You want to talk about gerrymandered, you want to talk about how do you represent a district that's 50% pro-life, 50% pro-choice? 50% of the people want more guns, 50% of people want to get rid of them. It's not good for the people of Missouri. It's not good for the people representing those districts. It's a horrible, horrible idea.
If it's on the ballot, prediction time, does it pass?
No, I think there is some serious opposition getting ready to come out, and I think we're about to change the conversation on
I won't ask Joe, but if they drew the districts in the different way, I think the Democrats pick up some seats, but not that many, just because of where the population is in the state.
I think that's probably true. I think a lot of this is going to depend on how much money goes into some sort of campaign, but I still think it becomes an uphill battle because the average person just hears some of the basics. And voters are frustrated about the political system right now.
Clean Missouri pass?
Yeah, I mean,
overwhelmingly.
Lawmakers have had decades to get rid of and make some reforms. The fact that lawmakers haven't done this is going to open the door to this passing by more than 60%.
This pass?
If it makes ballot, it passes. But let me say, I was actually talking to Racine Aldridge about this. For me, as a future legislator, I agree, it's a lot on there. It's just a lot stuffed into this bill. However, like Joe said, you hear those parts about gerrymandering and lobbyist gifts. Those are things that typically people, the layperson, does not like. They're going to vote against it. It passes if it makes the ballot.
Let's talk about somebody that won the week. Who won the week?
I think Congresswoman Wagner won the week. She picked up huge endorsements from the police, from the firefighters. The only independent poll out there shows that she's up 11 points. She's running hard. She's doing well. She represented the folks in her district well. I think she definitely won the week.
Joe Mannies, who won the week?
Well, I think you have to say Josh Hawley, regardless of the other stuff, he's got the president in town. Yeah. When the president's in town, if you're a Republican, you've won the week.
Who won the week?
The residents of Kinloch, Missouri won the week this past week at their city council meeting. Their city council approved and voted for St. Louis County to come in and do their policing. I think that's huge, and it's comfortable for the people.
Who won the week?
I think Missouri drivers won the week. I mean, we have a gas tax on the ballot in November that no opposition's out there. The pro campaign, which I'm not a part of, is out there articulating a good message. We need better roads in Missouri, and I think Missourians are going to vote for that.
I'm going to look into my Stein of knowledge and say the city of St. Charles and Mayor Faith won the week. Oktoberfest this coming weekend in St. Charles. Go ahead and enjoy yourself. And everyone, if you watch the show, you read the Missouri Times, please come out. Napoli, Thursday night, special guest Whitey Herzog. We have Oktoberfest, Cardinal playoff push. Whitey Herzog, season 5 premiere party, Thursday night in Napoli. Come join us, and we'll see you next week on This Week in Missouri Politics.
This Week in Missouri Politics, sponsored by CFM Insurance, the Missouri Association of Career Fire Protection Districts, Spire, and Sterling Bank.